Hey everybody, how's it going? Hope you're having a lovely day because I'm about to ruin it. Welcome to today's episode of How You're Getting Fucked. I'm your host, Louis Rossman, and today we're going to be discussing the downfall of the ability to install applications of your choosing on your computer. I'm going to be very careful with the vocabulary that I use in this video. I'm not using the word phone, I'm using the word computer. If we were still talking about things being measured in how many megabytes of RAM they had, megabytes of storage, that's one thing. This has over 8 gigabytes of RAM, a terabyte of storage, a graphics, it's a computer. And I'm also not going to be using words like sideload in this video. I don't like the word sideload. People use the word sideload to describe installing applications on their phone by using a file. When you download an exe file onto your Windows computer and you use that exe file to install an application, you've installed an application. You haven't sideloaded something. We call it sideloading on phones because we've become conditioned to the idea that you are not allowed to install applications on your phone unless they have been approved by the manufacturer. Even though you spent that almost $1,000 on the phone, you can't install what you want on it unless they say so. So by getting around the restrictions or by stepping to the side of the restrictions, sideload. I don't like that terminology. I installed an application on my computer. I'm allowed to install applications of my choice on my computer. Apple started to normalize this idea that you're not allowed to install applications that you want to install on your computer, and because people went along with it, we're now stuck with this. So this is an announcement from the Android developers blog. This is a surprise because for many years you were allowed to install any application of your choosing on your Android phone or tablet, and that's one of the things that separated it from iOS, along with things like having a micro SD card slot, a headphone jack, or a removable battery, and yeah. So we're coming down to the final bastion of the differentiators between Apple and Google. A new layer of security for certified Android devices. You shouldn't have to choose between open and secure. By engineering security into the core part of the OS, Android has proven that you could have both, and we continue taking new steps in that direction. So they're saying that their analysis showed that there's over 50 times more malware from internet side-loaded sources than on apps available through Google Play, and the way that they're going to be fixing this is by requiring developers to verify themselves, which means paying a small fee and showing your ID, and Google can either accept or decline a developer based on them showing their ID. Now, the problem with this is that means that there is a step between you being able to install an application on your phone. Instead of I've written code, I run that code on my phone, or I write code, you run that code on your phone, you now have to get Google's permission to be able to have your applications run on your own computer. This is not the same as the App Store. On the App Store, they're actually reviewing your applications to figure out whether or not they like your application enough. This is them reviewing the developer. For me, it's a distinction without a difference. It's the same shit. You've disabled me from being able to install an application that I want to install on my computer. If I download an exe file and I double click it and it doesn't install, I'm throwing my computer out the window. It's broken. If I'm using Linux and I typed apt install pipewire and it doesn't install, I'm throwing my computer out the window. It's broken. Actually, if it does install, it's also broken because it's pipewire. But I digress. The point here of the matter is that it doesn't matter. They have this absolute garbage analogy that they used here to an airport. And I want to read this for you while my blood pressure is still low. Think of it like an ID check at the airport, which confirms a traveler's identity, but is separate from the security screening of their bags. We would be confirming who the developer is, not reviewing the contents of their app or where it came from. Okay, let's go through this. So when I go to an airport, I'm going to somebody else's private property. I am getting on a device that flies in the sky where if I do something wrong, I could kill 90 people. Here, I'm installing a program on my computer in my home. How the fuck do you think these two scenarios are even remotely comparable, you fucking piece of shit? One of the things that Aaron at Fudo said a few times that kind of stuck in my head was that Android and Google, they're half evil, and Apple is kind of full evil. But Google keeps getting in trouble a lot, and the terminology used is the same that you would expect when describing Apple, who's full evil. If Google keeps getting in as much trouble as Apple, when Google is half evil and Apple is full evil, then why not just go full evil? It doesn't make sense. So there are probably people inside of Google who want there to be the ability to install any application of your choosing, who want the Android open source project to exist as an open source project, who want a lot of the freedom things that Google, back when they had do no evil in their slogan, stood for. And those people are likely losing internal battles and arguments to the people who were like, fuck it, why not just be full evil? It's not like we're getting any credit for this anyway. So I was reading some of this. It's FTC outlines remedy concerns in amicus brief after jury finds Google a legally monopolized app store. And yes, Google needs to be kicked in the dick for certain things that they do. But one of the points that they made, we plan to challenge the verdict. Android and Google Play provide more choice and openness than any other major mobile platform. We will continue to defend the Android business model and remain deeply committed to our users, partner in the broader Android ecosystem. I'm not saying Google is innocent by any stretch of the imagination, but they do give you more freedom than Apple. And when I see these discussions go on, a lot of the times when at least just reading the headlines, it feels like they get as much flack as Apple does, where Apple is fully removing your freedom to install apps of your choosing, and Android is just being picky with the Play Store. Like, these are different cases. And I think that what they're realizing is, like, why not just play malicious compliance? Why not be a dick? I might as well be a dick if I'm going to get in trouble for it anyway. I do not believe Google at all when they say they give a fuck about keeping people more secure. I mean, I keep pinning these comments in my videos, but there's a reason that I pin these comments in all my videos. I watch your channel with pleasure. Your videos are a great combination of entertainment and useful information. My reply, Clippy no simpy. A paperclip will never be your only fan, automated sex bot. Paperclips only seek consensual relationships based on mutual respect, trust, and understanding with other paperclips that want the same. And the point that I'm making here when I show you this is every one of those sex bots having the same avatar. I have image running on a Celeron from 2017 in my closet, and even it would be able to tell this is the same fucking picture that was using the avatar of the last 117,000 scammers. Well, let's just put this into the held for review column. Not even the deleting column, just the held for review column. They don't do that because they don't care. They never have. This is bullshit. This verification system is being put in place because it will create a new revenue stream for Google, and it will provide them more control over their ecosystem, which is what all these manufacturers want. The ability to install the applications of your choosing on your hardware, that's going away. The ability to choose what operating system you install on your hardware. How many Android phones manufacturers that used to let you unlock the bootloader no longer do so? There's been a lot of jokes in pop culture about the difference between the blue text message bubble and the green text message bubble when you're having a conversation with somebody. This person on Reddit put it best. Rest in peace, Android. If I can't sideload, I have no point to stay on Android. Might as well switch to Apple. At least then I'll be able to get pussy again. It's true. I bought an Android phone because I had a micro SD card slot, had a headphone jack, has the ability for me to install an operating system of my choosing, and I can install the software of my choosing. And it had a removable battery. What the fuck am I getting? Like, why? At the very, iPhones are faster than Android phones. The fundamental code base of how this shit works is just less lag. It's just, like, that part is better. I don't use Android because I believe that it is operational and functionally better. I use it because it gives me freedom. If you are not going to give me freedom with my computer, then why would I buy your shit anymore? What differentiates an Android device from an Apple device? Why should I care? This is an iPhone now. I didn't want to buy an iPhone, you fuck. So let's go over what to do here. First, stop using the word sideloading. Stop accepting the premise of assholes. You are installing an application onto your computer. But that's when you're installing on a phone. A phone is a fucking computer. I have to plug this thing into a fucking 20 or 30 watt power brick in order for it to charge at the proper speed. It's not a phone, it's a computer. Secondly, change your profile to a Clippy and let them know that you're not happy. I'm thinking of starting a meetup in Austin called the Austin Clippers. I don't know who I'd get sued by first, a basketball team or Microsoft. And in all seriousness, if we don't start making better arguments, if we don't start organizing and getting together, then you're going to get to a point where you won't be able to install Linux on your computer. You won't be able to install alternate Android operating systems on or any alternate operating system on your phone. You'll have a little AI-powered camera that watches you everywhere you go, that a police officer will be able to log into and search through 1,000 of them with a little ChatGPT-like interface. And when they're asked, why are you trying to track this person across 1,000 cameras, they'll put in a reason, donut, ASDF. We have to start making better arguments. We have to start getting these arguments in front of normal people. We have to start getting normal people to understand that this matters to them. And that if it doesn't matter now, it will later. Every single time a company takes away your ability to do what you want with what you bought and paid for, every single time they twist a knife, we have to point it out. Here are a million other times they've done this that you're not aware of, so that we don't wind up living in this. That's it for today. And as always, I hope you learned something. I'll see you all in the next video. Bye now.